What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Kate Bush. As we continue through this album of re-recordings, director's cut, thank you again to Seb, as well as to all those who've been following the larger Kate journey and commenting on this particular album specifically. And the next tune is Deeper Understanding, one of my favorite tunes from the Sensual World album, a fantastic album overall, but I really think this is a contender for my favorite from that record. And yes, people mention, when I reacted to it, I was struck by the way in 1989 she was talking about the new types of experiences and personal interfacing that this era of computers and digital technology was beginning to offer. And while it was still years away from the internet that we've come to know and the way that people can find community in various corners of the internet, as well as, let's say, more problematic things, it is certainly, I think, ahead of its time. It is prescient in terms of exploring what this new type of technology might mean. I still lament when I did that reaction, I remember thinking that some of that ethereal folk supporting singing sounded Bulgarian specifically, which I had that thought because, as I mentioned in a comment at the time, there's an episode of Carl Sagan's Cosmos where there's this traditional Bulgarian singing passage, and I remembered thinking that, wow, it sounds a bit like that. Now, in the outro, I just said, oh, that was really cool folk singing in support of Kate, and people mentioned it was the trio Bulgarka, I believe, and I felt like I had missed an opportunity because it really did sound like Bulgarian singing to me. In any case, I do remember Nikola saying that on this version, Kate's son Bertie provides vocals to represent the computer. So I think he said there were mixed opinions on it, as I remember people saying about this re-recording album overall. But either way, I'm really keen to hear this. Let's give it a listen. This is Kate Bush and Deeper Understanding, the version from her 2011 Director's Cut album.
As the people here grow colder, I turn to my computer and spend my evenings with it like a friend. I was loading a new program I had ordered from a magazine. I am lonely, I am lost. This voice console is a must. I press execute. Well, I've never known such pleasure. Nothing else seemed to matter. I neglected my bodily needs. I did not eat, I did not sleep. The intensity increasing till my family found me and intervened. But I was lonely, I was lost. I was so lost without my little black box. I pick up the phone and press execute.
Wow, so much to say. I'll try to remember everything that occurred to me over the course of that listening. First of all, I think it's just longer. I don't remember the exact length of the original, but I want to say like 4 or 5 minutes, somewhere in there. Yeah, and this is 6.5, so I'm almost certain that's like at least a minute or two longer than the original. Secondarily, I think it's a bit more sparsely arranged, and I think the trio Bulgarka, even though we can hear their singing, I think it's stripped back compared to the original. And Bertie's vocals are really interesting for two reasons. Like, one, they certainly give a bit more of a computerish sound. Not that the original doesn't have some of those bleeps and bloops and, dial-up modem type sounds, but here I think Bertie's vocals, which have auto-tune, I believe, which, like a lot of people, I think auto-tune is something that needs to be approached, at the very least, carefully and selectively, and if it is used to achieve a certain effect that makes lyrical or conceptual sense, then I think it's more valid than just, using it in the chorus of your song because you can use it. I think here it does achieve that. I think Bertie's vocals, if they were clean, like pure, they almost sound like chant, like Middle Age style vocals. And then here, taking that type of vocal delivery and giving it that digitally affected electromechanical sound with the auto-tune, it makes it feel like a traditional human voice, a traditional human emotion, but extrapolated, updated, transfigured into the digital age, into the computer age, and thus it's like creating an AI or a mechanical being that is doing its best to mimic human behavior and thus provide a person to interact with, a community to be part of, an emotional, what's the right word, support, even if no one else is in your life. And again, there's like lyrics about, her family and so on. So I think it's part of the larger story. But I think that vocal actually works, even if admittedly it sounds notably distinct from the original. And overall, I feel like the experimental and forward-looking, if not ahead of its time, feeling of the original from '89 is maintained here, if, again, taken into an even later decade and sound. So if you made me, which I don't often like doing this, ranking or, picking a favorite among tunes, or I often take different paintings can have different qualities and I like them both type of attitude, but I suppose if I could only ever listen to one, I think I would still choose the original. But again, I think this version carries that experimental, very creative dynamic and is a worthy re-recording successor to the original version of the tune. And again, I think Bertie's vocals, even though it might sound like almost out of place when you first hear it, if you know the original. If not, I feel like you probably wouldn't think twice about it. You just like, oh, okay, so it's kind of, the computer, the digital program, the algorithm is speaking. But even if you know the original, I feel like it serves a purpose that really makes sense in this version. And I enjoy some of Kate's visceral and more guttural type of vocal moments. In the end, it feels like it's all becoming a bit fragmented, like the program is perhaps running with some errors, and of course you can read, I think, conceptually into that in terms of maybe what we understand about computers, even in 2011, never mind in 2025, relative to what we may have thought about that technology in '89 and the opportunities, the synthesis of certain activities and the possibilities, for human experience. So, maybe the way the track ends, you can read with some figurative meaning. But again, I really enjoyed this, even if on a forced comparison, I probably would still pick the original. And I like the way it took its time with the outro, which I think maybe that's where most of the extra duration came from, is the last minute or two. So yeah, a really interesting version. It's a great song, whichever version you're talking about. I'm keen to see what people have to say. Let me know. Thank you again to Seb for sharing the Kate catalog, and I will see you next time. Peace.